You know, there was one poor soul in his fantasy football league that spent the entire week trying to find the perfect starting lineup. Finally found it when, okay, we got Isaiah Likely at the tight end spot. We're going to go Deion Jackson. And none of it mattered. He went up against Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon dropped 55 points on his ass. We're going to go through. We're going to talk about all the lessons learned that we have from week 9. Instead of just talking about the players who scored the most points, we're going to look at the underlying usage for a lot of these running backs because I think some of these backfields are starting to change a bit. But before we get into it, go down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football, leave a comment if you have any questions down below. I'll try to get to them. And in that comment section, you will find a link to Underdog Fantasy. I know so many people are able to take advantage of the free Derrick Henry line we were able to get you. Well, it's not too late. If you are not able to take advantage of the free Derrick Henry line, like we saw from Nick here, who crushed it, congrats, my man, you can still go to the link in the live chat, comment section, description. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. When you sign up for Underdog and use promo code FLOCK, they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And if you are not able to take advantage of the Derrick Henry line by signing up with promo code FLOCK, only for promo code FLOCK are you going to get advantage of this Alvin Kamara line for Monday night. Work my butt off to get you this. Super proud that we are able to. Go to the link in the live chat, deposit $10, immediately have $20 in your account, then go bet the $20 on Alvin Kamara, more than half a total yard. But that should be it. Let's go through. Let's dive into this. Starting off in Arizona, James Conner's first week back comes in, and if you just look at the box score, not great for James Conner. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals offense continues to struggle here. James Conner only has, 7 carries, 45 rushing yards. Benjamin gets someone involved. You have a carry to Greg Dortch, Keontae Ingram, Kyler Murray clouding up the box score. But if you look at the underlying usage for these running backs, I actually really like what we saw from James Conner. If we look at James Conner, he played 45 snaps compared to Benjamin at 17. This is his first week back from the rib injury. His first week back, he's being used as an every down player here. Obviously, Darrell Williams on the IR. Benjamin's the only other running back that you have to be concerned about in Arizona. You're looking at the usage as a pass catcher. The man ran 31 routes. And with those 31 routes, he had a total of 5 receptions. I know he didn't have a ton of receiving yards, but still, the usage as a pass catcher is there. Obviously, he's getting 3-down work. Now, we did not love him in fantasy drafts when you had to take him in the 3rd round because the touchdowns were to come down from where they were a year ago. There was no way in hell he was going to score as many touchdowns this season as he did last year. Just natural regression. However, I think he's going to start scoring again sometime soon. I think if anything, it's gone to the opposite end of the spectrum, and there should be a happy medium here. I think James Conner is going to be a running back on our buy low video. Now, going over someone that was on our sell high video last week, the week before. Leonard Fournette continuing to lose this backfield in Tampa. This game was being taken down to the very end, and I like seeing Brady win it. I'm not going to lie. And if we are looking at a close contest, Rachaad White sees 29 snaps. Leonard Fournette sees 52. Rachaad White, 8 carries compared to Leonard Fournette at 9. Don't want to take a lot away with, Rachaad White has more rushing yards. Who the hell cares? I'm just looking at the usage. You can take with what you want of the running back talent. And if we know anything about Rachaad White, the man's a great passing down running back. He was the best pass catching running back outside of Breece Hall in this entire draft class. So if all of a sudden it looks like they're splitting these carries almost 50-50, and on top of it, we know that Rachaad White is a running back that is more than capable at catching the football, I'm very worried about Leonard Fournette, as we've been saying for quite some time. Now, going over to our next spot, it doesn't matter if the Green Bay Packers are going up against Detroit. It doesn't matter if the Green Bay Packers are going up against, Alabama. It doesn't matter if they're going up against a high school varsity football team. It may not even matter if they're going up against a JV team. I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. This is not the same Green Bay Packers team we used to know. Rodgers, 43 pass attempts, 291 passing yards. You get saved at the end of this game. If you were looking at halftime, it was way uglier than the final box score. This was a disgusting spot. Lazard's still able to get there, and we had a report coming out about halfway through the second quarter that it looked like Rodgers was about to lose his job. We had some insider tweeting out, per sources, Aaron Rodgers will be benched at halftime for rookie quarterback Mason Dodd. Prepare for fireworks. Now, I looked into this. Sounded like his flight got delayed or something. He was not able to get Detroit by half. But maybe Rodgers is not the start. Obviously, Rodgers will be the starting quarterback, but lower your expectations for the Packers going forward. Really need to be monitoring this Aaron Jones injury, because if Aaron Jones missing, better believe that A.J. Dillon is a borderline top 5 running back in our running back rankings video this week. But now going over to the opposite end of the spectrum with the Detroit Lions, I think the biggest takeaway is if we get a report saying DeAndre Swift is going to be limited, that's not someone you can put in your starting lineup. If anything, people who started DeAndre Swift this week got lucky in that PPR format where the man had 3 receptions and 40 receiving yards. So yeah, I mean, he gets you 8 PPR points. Not horrible, but not great from DeAndre Swift. If you look at the underlying numbers, 10 snaps played. Justin Jackson played more snaps than DeAndre Swift this week. DeAndre Swift is not startable until we hear something differently out of this coaching staff, until we see something differently out there on the football field. I mean, if you started DeAndre Swift, I want to say you kind of got lucky here. And I thought Swift was a good start at the beginning of the week. Of course, when the limited report came out, we had to change our mind. Now going over to our next guy, Cordell Patterson in Atlanta. Looking like he's back. He splits the backfield in 4 ways. I mean, you have some Avery Williams involvement, Caleb Huntley, Tyler Algier, but Cordell Patterson still gets there with the multiple rushing touchdowns. No passing volume whatsoever in Atlanta. I'm really hoping that we at least get to see Desmond Ridder. I don't know how it could be that much worse than what we currently have happening. Now, if we're looking at Cordell Patterson going forward, I mean, hell, I think he can be very exciting, considering the fact that this was his first week back. They told us he was going to be limited. If we begin to see a little less Tyler Algier, maybe they remove Caleb Huntley entirely, and all of a sudden Cordell Patterson's a running back getting closer to 15, 16, 17 carries a game based on what we had at the beginning of the year and in this contest. I'd be very, very excited. Now going over to Chicago. Ooh, Justin Fields putting on a show. I owe the Justin Fields truthers an apology. We've said that Justin Fields, not a good real-life quarterback, fine for fantasy given the rushing upside. Well, Justin Fields was not just fine for fantasy this week. Justin Fields was phenomenal for fantasy football. Now, of course, he still only has 123 passing yards, but it doesn't matter. 178 rushing yards from Justin Fields. A rushing touchdown to go along with this. I mean, hell, he's getting you 24 points just off what he can do with the ground, then throws the ball for 3 passing touchdowns. Justin Fields crushes. Now, going back to what we were saying previously, Justin Fields himself can still be a good fantasy quarterback because of his rushing upside. But there's still not passing volume in Chicago. I still think that Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool are players that we should be selling off our roster in packages, because I'm never starting either guy. I mean, even if Fields has the best game of his NFL career here, you still have 123 passing yards in this offense. There's not going to be passing volume to go around. One quick side note. David Montgomery takes over as starting running back. Looks like Khalil Herbert taking that massive step back. I mean, we had been saying to sell Khalil Herbert coming into this week, and that he was not a running back involved as a pass catcher, and he was being used as a 50-50 back. He had a ton of hype because the man literally was averaging 6 yards per carry coming into this contest. The man at the same time was 6th in the NFL in rushing yards. Clear sell-eye guy when you're in a bad offense. Combine that with the fact that you don't catch passes in a PPR format. Now going over to our next split backfield, we're going to be looking at Miami here. With Miami, I mean, I think we kind of got lucky telling a lot of people to play Raheem Mostert, where Mostert gets the touchdown, so it's not disgusting at the end of the week. At least get about 8.5 points. He's not startable anymore. I mean, neither running back is startable in Miami, where you have Jeb Wilson coming in his first week, splitting this backfield damn near 50-50, where one running back gets 28 snaps, the other guy gets 26. Where you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle commanding such a high percentage, I mean, an incredible percentage of the market share of this entire offense. I think it would be very difficult to start either running back. I mean, look at how many points the Miami Dolphins put up, and still neither guy was that great. Now, next lesson learned. I mean, maybe we can stop by Las Vegas for just 1 second. I mean, Devontae Adams, no longer sick. 17 targets, 10 receptions, 146 receiving yards, multiple receiving touchdowns as well. I'm hoping we get more from our guy, Josh Jacobs, relatively soon. I mean, that would be very beneficial. But, I mean, it was so weird to see this Las Vegas Raiders offense where you check in on the game at half and they're like just crushing the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then at the end of the game, I had no idea what happened. Full transparency, I did not watch this game. You're sitting there, Jacksonville comes back, Etienne's putting on a show. That is very exciting. Now going over to our next lesson learned, cannot start an Indianapolis Colt with Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. Of course, you can see the University of Texas wall we have alongside us. I was going to UT. I was a UT grad the same year as Sam Ehlinger. Hook 'em horns. He was my quarterback all 4 years at Texas. I want to root for a guy, but blame it on the offensive line in Indianapolis. Blame it on Sam Ehlinger. Probably a combo of both. Nobody's startable in Indianapolis until we see otherwise. Deion Jackson went down after getting pretty much every single snap in this backfield through the first 3 quarters. The end of the game, you have, Jordan Wilkins with 19 snaps, Philip Lindsay with 9. But if Deion Jackson stayed healthy throughout the entire contest, they wouldn't have had nearly this many. Now going over to our next spot, in New York, you can start Garrett Wilson. Do not be worried about it. Here, back-to-back weeks, Elijah Moore not getting involved. Elijah Moore is someone involved as a slot wide receiver. He plays 27 snaps, draws a whopping 0 targets. Don't be worrying about Elijah Moore whatsoever. Garrett Wilson's going up against Denzel freaking Mims. Garrett Wilson comes out again, dominates, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 92 receiving yards in a very tough matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Garrett Wilson looks like he's a locked and loaded top 24 wide receiver rest of season. We even have the coaching staff coming out saying that Denzel Mims has played well enough that he's not going anywhere. That maybe he's splitting the role with Corey Davis when Corey Davis comes back. But now going over to Minnesota, I owe everybody a massive apology. I think that this was probably the dumbest thing that I said this week. I told everybody that with TJ Hawkinson, while we like the spot in Minnesota for the long term, I thought it was going to take time for him to get implemented into this offense. You had the report literally before the game of this coaching staff saying, oh no, don't worry about Hawkinson. We have him covered. We are going to get involved heavily. And I said, I'm not buying it. I made a clown of myself. Hawkinson comes through 9 targets, 9 receptions, and 70 receiving yards for all our best ball teams. I really like it, but I wish we could have had this production in our starting lineup. I know we told a million people to play guys like Isaiah Likely, Gerald Everett over TJ Hawkinson. I think it was clearly the wrong call. I apologize. Hawkinson looks like a borderline top 5 tight end rest of season. Now going over to Washington, the running backfield with no J.D. McKissick has gone from a 3-man backfield where I am not wanting to get excited about anybody. Tell you only have 2 men getting the touches here. You have Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson getting every single snap. So I think all of a sudden, Antonio Gibson is intriguing again in a PPR format in particular, where if we're looking at the usage, just as provided by PFF, Antonio Gibson, 7 snaps on 3rd downs, 11 snaps in the 2-minute drill, the only running back that they have out there. So it's like Antonio Gibson kept his exact role and then just added on top what J.D. McKissick had. So Gibson is going to be appealing going forward. And now, our last stop, the man of the hour, Joe Mixon. Oh my gosh, Joe Mixon. Let's just give a shout out to our guy. Here, 22 carries, 153 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, 4 receptions, 58 receiving yards, and the receiving touchdown. This looks like Alvin Kamara 2 years ago in the Fantasy Football Championship. Dear God. Happy for everybody who started Joe Mixon. Very sad for anybody who went up against them. But I guess we can actually cover the Carolina Panthers offense. Y'all know we spent the entire week saying to sell Deontay Foreman, sell DJ Moore. The Carolina Panthers were going to be significantly worse going forward. Look at what PJ Walker did in the first half. Looks like it's Baker Mayfield's job again. I still stand by the fact that I think this is one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL. If you ever have a player like DJ Moore, Deontay Foreman exploding with value, clear sell high moment. But I think that's all I got for you. Of course, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. If you have any questions, drop them down there in that comment section. I'll try to answer as many as possible. And of course, take advantage of our special on Underdog Fantasy this week. Could not be more happy that I'm able to get you this. Nick crushed it with the Derrick Henry one on Sunday. Not too late for you. I wanted to make sure everybody in the flock got a free bet. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK on your first deposit. Get that free Alvin Kamara line on Underdog. And on top of this, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100 with promo code FLOCK. Available in damn near every state. Deposit $10. Immediately have $20 in your account. Go take the over on Alvin Kamara there with that 20. But thank you again. I appreciate you. You can find that link in the comment section in the description of the video. I hope you had a great Sunday, and I hope I get to see you in the live stream Monday night.